Now, with everything that's been going on with Ian Garry recently, a lot of people have forgotten he still has a fight coming up with Vicente Luque, a very tough and gritty veteran at UFC 296. And what I'm worried about, what I've been thinking about, is how Ian Garry's mental state is going to be whenever the fight comes around, right? Because by the time fight week comes around and the press conference comes around, there's going to be a lot of mental stress on this guy, right? I could sort of see this as like a Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland type of situation, to where that whole fight week, Adesanya was dealing with so much mental stress with all the rumors going on, with Strickland verbally abusing him at the press conference and bringing out a lot of these rumors, a lot of statements and claims to light, to where it kind of did affect him in that performance. I still would have think Sean would have beaten him either way, but it definitely played a part with Adesanya's mental state, because he was up on Twitter late at night, nights before his fight, talking about, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I said this because this and that, and Ian Garry's kind of dealing with the same thing, and it's going to be even worse whenever fight week comes around, in my opinion, because he's got Colby Covington, he's got Paddy Pimblett and Leon Edwards at the press conference, and besides that, everyone knows what's going on with him and his wife. A lot of fighters have their own different opinions about the situation, and I believe it could end up in a very, very stressful mental state for Ian Garry. And let me just say one thing. If Dana White allowed Sean Strickland to do that to Israel Adesanya at that press conference, Colby Covington is going to absolutely rip him to shreds come the press conference day. It's a very tough and interesting situation for Ian Garry to be in, right? Because he's got Leon Edwards, Paddy Pimblett, Tony Ferguson, Colby Covington, all up there, and he's got hundreds of fans that are going to be screaming at him, absolutely harassing him while he's on stage. So that's going to be interesting, because Ian Garry does seem like he's going to be the main target of that press conference. But besides that, Garry has a very tough opponent in Vicente Luque coming up, right? And I believe that whenever this fight was announced, I don't think Ian Garry is taking Vicente Luque too seriously. Of course he's training for him, of course he knows he's dangerous. But the thing about Ian Garry, guys, is that he's been very smart with the opponents that he's picked in his career so far, with Daniel Rodriguez, with Neil Magny, with the Jeff Neal fight almost being scheduled, he's fighting a lot of opponents that a lot of people from Killcliff, which are his teammates, have trained with before, right? So he's looking at guys like Daniel Rodriguez and thinking, oh, Leach did really good against him. I think I beat Leach up in the gym. I think I would take out Daniel Rodriguez, which he did. And Vicente Luque is a former training partner of Ian Garry. I'm sure they've trained with each other plenty of times before at Killcliff, right? So I think Ian Garry's kind of looking at this fight as someone he's done very well against in the gym before, and a style that he could beat pretty easily, right? Because Luque is very simple. He doesn't really move his head much. He throws a lot of counter lead hooks, and he has a lot of very good body kicks and leg kicks. So he's a very good striker, but he doesn't move too much, right? Garry moves a lot of side to side movement, a lot of leg kicks, a lot of straight punches that Luque does seem to have a lot of problems with, right? And no matter what you think about Ian Garry, we all got to admit, he is an incredibly talented up-and-coming fighter, man. 26 years old, and in that fight with Neil Magny, he absolutely destroyed Neil Magny, dominated him, beat up his legs, outstruck him on the feet, and I think he could have finished Neil pretty easily in that fight, but I think he was so, with all the heat of tension and stuff going around, I think he kind of wanted to carry him in that fight. Either way, it was an incredible performance from Ian Garry. And I'm definitely picking him to beat Vicente Luque, but if there's anyone you shouldn't sleep on, it is Luque. But just with the damage that Luque has taken recently against Jeff Neal, he had a tough, hard fight with RDA, and he didn't look quite as confident whenever he's walking forward and eating shots to give a shot. He didn't look the absolute same against RDA, and maybe he was just getting his feet wet again with fighting, getting back in there, because I know he was out for a whole year. I mean, maybe Luque can land a counter left hook whenever Ian Garry goes for a body shot or something like Son Kanan did, but I don't really see it, man. Ian Garry is getting better every single time we see him in there. We see Luque only taking more and more damage. He's only getting older. It's a difficult matchup, but you never know with all the stuff that's going on with Ian Garry and his mindset, the way fight week's going to go, and with Luque not really having to deal with that at all, but training like a killer and getting ready for this up-and-comer, we could see something happen. And if this is the time to see a bad performance from Ian Garry, it's definitely now, right? So it's interesting, man. Definitely interesting. It's a fight week that I'm going to be looking forward to, UFC 296. We'll see where Ian Garry's head is going to be. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think that he's going to be even angrier whenever this fight comes around? Do you think he's going to kind of dwindle a little bit, be mentally drained, and get knocked out by Vicente Luque? Let me know how you guys think this is going to affect him, But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. God bless, and bye-bye.